I will utterly consume all things from off the land, saith the Lord. I will consume man and beast. I will consume the fowls of the heaven, and the fishes of the sea, and the stumbling blocks with the wicked. And I will cut off man from off the land, saith the Lord.
Back now to our top story, a terrible mystery gripping the world right now. Birds, fish, and all kinds of creatures just dropping dead in huge numbers for what seems like no reason. Just in the last 2 weeks, the theories and speculation running rampant.
Hundreds of dead seals in Labrador. These seals washed up around Hopedale. There are similar reports from other communities. No one knows why these animals died.
British County Humane Society is investigating the death of 200 cows.
The cattle were discovered on a farm field on 4th Street in Amherst. Today, the bodies were taken out in semi-loads to be disposed of. The Portage County Sheriff's Department says the animals died.
They've occurred suddenly with devastating results. A series of huge fish kills, the latest involving 2 million fish in Maryland.
On Kent Island, Maryland, along the Chesapeake Bay. Wildlife officials say roughly 2 million of one particular species died very suddenly. But this came at about the same time that thousands of birds died suddenly in Arkansas and Louisiana, and millions of fish were killed in separate incidents from Arkansas to South America to the South Pacific.
This is all a sign of the apocalypse. Authorities in northern Italy say more than 1,000 turtle doves have dropped dead over the past 5 days. It's the latest in a series of unexplained sudden death incidents affecting creatures in the sky and underwater. The events have sparked a media frenzy, with doomsday speculators saying it hails the end of the world. 8,000 dead turtle doves in Italy, hundreds of birds dead in Rockwell, Texas, 500 red-winged blackbirds in Louisiana, 100 birds in Sweden, 3,000 dead red-winged blackbirds in Arkansas, several hundred dead in Kentucky. On the fish, several hundred snapper fish in New Zealand, thousands of dead fish in Florida, 40,000 devil crabs in the UK, 80,000 drumfish in Arkansas, 2 million spotted croakers in Maryland. In the last 2 weeks,
well, thousands of fish are dead at the mouth of a shipping channel, as well as a dead whale that was reported in Venice today. The species include crabs, stingrays, eel, drum, speckled trouts, and redfish.
In the UK, 40,000 velvet crabs littered the coast. Brazil, 100 tons of lifeless fish floated. And in Sweden, jackdaws fell in the dead of the night. Across the world, the bizarre phenomena of creatures raining down or washing up on shore has mystified scientists.
The video you're about to see is not a gravel road. Those are the dead fish.
This footage that was taken recently was in Rio de Janeiro, I believe, or Santa Cruz, South America. I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but all over the world things are changing. We're talking about environmentally, the weather-related changes may have an effect. Look at all these dead animals, these dead fish. This is in Bolivia, South America. Alligators dead everywhere. Whatever was in the water is coming up dead. This is happening all over the place. It's happening in the United States. It's happening in South America. What is going on? I've got footage of other things happening in the Middle East on some of the beaches where there's just millions and millions of seashells that are just washing up. The dead animals that live within the shells are somehow just washing up on shore. All you see is an ocean of just dead.
200 dead cows in Wisconsin and 7,000 dead buffalo in Vietnam. What is happening?
I think the media is, by and large, not blowing it out of proportion. They're actually underestimating how serious it is.
And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate. and an howling from the second.
Looks like 6, 7 floors were taken out. And there's more explosions right now. Hold on, people are running.
Hold on just a moment. We got an explosion inside.
The building's exploding right now. You got people running up the street.
Okay.
Hold on, what's going on?
And a great crashing from the hills.
Noise coming from it, but the engines were running. I then saw the plane coming down at almost a 90-degree angle, maybe an 80-degree angle, and the next thing I saw was a big fireball and smoke.
When it come down over top of me, I seen it go nosedive straight into the ground down here.
We heard this noise in the sky. My friend and I looked up and said, "What's that?" And just going over, basically over our horizon of the hill, was this plane. It was completely upside down, is what it was. The tail fin was down, and it was going in at a sharp ascent, probably more than a 45-degree angle, closer to a 90-degree angle. Next thing was over the horizon, there was a big, huge fireball. That's what it was. I'd say at least 400 or 500 feet in the air, fireball.
Howl, ye inhabitants of Machtesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off. And it shall come to pass at that time, that I will search Jerusalem with candles, and punish the men that are settled on their lees, that say in their heart, The Lord will not do good, neither will he do evil.
Major implications. Now, I want to ask you about Dubai, I want to ask you about Greece, as well as Spain. Are you worried about the debt crisis going there? And tell me how this manifests itself. In fact, we are going to see implications.
Well, Maria, we're going to have more currency turmoil. We're going to have currency crisis or semi-crisis. You already see Vietnam devalued last week. Brazil put on special taxes for currencies. You're seeing what's happening in Dubai. Greece is in trouble. Ukraine, Argentina, there are plenty of people that we can put to the list. Spain, Ireland. No, we're going to have currency turmoils. We're going to have more debt problems. And in the meantime, all everybody's done is printed money. And then what are they going to do when these problems really start giving us great turmoil?
The sovereign debt fears really are growing. S&P put Spain on debt negative watch. Fitch cut its rating on Greek sovereign debt. So do you think the fact that the India Central Bank, Mauritius, you're seeing a different buyer recently, does that change the gold story, or is this, what's behind this move, or is it just the dollar hedge?
Until last year, central banks around the world were selling gold. Now you have the opposite. They've stopped selling and they're starting to buy as well. That's a huge shift in the gold market, and many other people are worried about paper money as well. So I think gold will certainly go to a couple $1,000s over the next decade. I mean, that's not a very radical assumption. That's only 4, 5, 6% a year. It would have to go up. So I'm sure gold will be a great investment over the next decade.
And you said you like silver.
I'd rather own silver than gold. I own both right now, but silver is 70% below its all-time high. Gold is near its all-time high. So buy silver, buy palladium.
Yeah, what about copper and things that are tied to the global economy, which of course you're concerned about?
Well, I am, but I think I'd rather buy agriculture, just because agriculture is still so depressed. I mean, I own copper and the others, but I don't, copper's way up.
Yeah.
I don't like to buy things that are way, way up. So
how do I buy agriculture right now? Am I doing this through a fund? I mean, tell me what the strategy is for agriculture.
If you're good at it, you can buy agricultural futures. If you're not, you can buy indexes. There are plenty of indexes that trade right here on the New York Stock Exchange. Agricultural indexes, you can buy. If you know good stocks, buy stocks. But Maria, become a farmer. That's what you should do. I've been trying to get you to become a farmer.
I like
Go learn to drive a tractor.
Yeah, I know, but look, I understand what you're saying, because I think that there are food shortages everywhere, and is that on the back of
inventories of food are the lowest they've been in decades. Yeah. Not years, decades. We have a shortage of farmers even.
What about water, Jim? Do you like water?
Water's a fabulous opportunity, spectacular opportunity.
How do I get into water?
Well, that's the hard part. There are companies in Asia which are dealing with the water problem. There's some here, but none of them are terribly cheap, at least not in the West. But there are water companies that are trying to deal with the problems. India has a horrible water problem. China does.
China too, right?
Yeah, go to the Southwest in America. We have water problems too.